So it happens both ways. So, but I'm there to protect you all as best I can. But I need you to follow SOP, and that's my best way I can protect you, because I can say he or she did everything it was supposed to do, and retrieve those errors.
The same thing with Script Fleet. We're right there to back each and every one of you up as long as you're following the SOP. You know, we do go to bat for our drivers as long as you follow procedure and protocol. And you know, each and every one of you in here know it's in your contract, the clause about IDEXX, because they have had some serious issues. We take it very serious. You know, if you're not following SOP and protocol, you will find that you will not have a contract and will not be doing pickup and deliveries for IDEXX. You know, and we're strict about that throughout our entire company and all 3 divisions. You know, we have zero tolerance for drivers not upholding customer requirements. We'll talk to you, we'll work with you, we'll coach you and mentor you, but you know, if you're just not getting it and you're continuously deciding you just don't want to go to that clinic and pick up those specimens, you're going to be immediately removed from the route. And that's why you'll see that we have so many drivers contracted, more than what we need for this account, as we do all of our new startups. It's for the fact some of you guys are going to like it, some's not. You know, it may work, it may not work with your schedule. You know, you may go out there and you just cannot seem to get your rhythm and routine down, and you just keep on making mistakes, and we have to make a decision to let you go. So there's many different factors that come into play. And all we ask is keep the communication going. We're all here to help you, support you. We're all here to make sure that each and every one of you is successful. It's our job to make sure we're successful with IDEXX. Don Abbott is successful with his courier team once implementation pulls out. You know, but Marlon did a very good job explaining everything going forward. This will all be reiterated over the next several weeks, and you guys will learn a lot when you go out there and start doing your route recons. Okay.
Anything that happens out there negatively, I'll find out about it. I can tell you that right now. They're quick to call in this market, very quick. Maybe not as bad as Elmer's. Ooh, that's another ball game, though.
Yeah, we, like you said, we try to be very transparent with the transition.
Exactly.
Make it as smooth as possible. And we do have our drivers on the routes as dedicated drivers with backup drivers for fill-in, because we all know you're going to have vacations and you're going to have illness and just different things going to happen. But the key is to build a relationship. You build a relationship, and even the smallest little thing will be a non-issue because you've built that relationship. And he's right. Customers take care of our drivers. I've seen it throughout everywhere I've been for our company. You know, I've got drivers run around up in New York for 4 years, and I'm telling you, they go, you know, to his kids' birthday parties. He's got dinner waiting on him at certain facilities. I mean, they give him Christmas gifts, birthday gifts, but he's been doing it for 4 years. And I had to make a change on his route and take a few stops off, and oh my gosh, the customers were livid. They were so upset, and they called and talked to the pharmacy manager, and I had to, you know, couldn't give all the stops back. There was one specific Heritage Christian home. I had to give it back to the driver. I had to make it happen. We had to make it work because they were so upset that he was no longer delivering. They said the driver that was going there was fine and they liked her, but it wasn't him. You know, it wasn't him. And so that's why we say we really value our customers. We value all of the customers out in the field that we're servicing. Everything will work hand in hand. Okay?
You're going to meet some great people out there too. Some of these clients are really nice, great people. And I mean, you're going to come in there someday, they may be having a party, like, hey, you want a plate, and, you know, obviously we know you got a route to do, but, you know, I don't have a problem with you taking a sandwich to go, you know, but they're going to really, you're going to see some of these clients really are, you don't work for Street Fleet Logistics, IDEXX, you're their courier. They want their courier, and then when they see another one, well, where's my courier? That's what I hear all the time, where's my courier?
Yes.
So once you get that kind of relationship, I'm telling you, they really appreciate what you all do. But when the mistakes come, well, you know, this guy, and then you start hearing all kinds of stories about the courier. Well, you know, he's always this, he's always that. That's why I don't do a lot of looking for trouble out here, because I always find it. So I just kind of let it lay. And then this child situation, like I was telling you about, I said, well, I'm going to call 2 other clinics. And when they told me, I said, oh, I'm not going to call anymore. That's, you know, we'll have to address this. And I did tell those 3, I will work on this. Can you give me about 2 weeks and a half? You know, because I knew we were making a switch. So they were fine, but I must stress, whoever has 2022, I'm telling you, That one is just, they're a little, those clinics are pretty high maintenance on that.
Do we have any volunteers in here who wants to take around 2022? Raise your
And
hand.
if you look at the sheet, it's an easy route. They hardly ever get any call-ins. It's done early. It's a very easy route. Me personally, I would like that route.
Nobody's raising their hands. I think he's scared.
I think you'd be fine on that
we got some
route.
people here.
I think you'd be fine on that route.
But Marlon, one thing I do want to reiterate too is that when we're talking about how the customers will take care of you, one thing though that you cannot do is you cannot take their brochures and materials or ask for samples. And please, please do not ask them if you bring Fluffy in for a checkup that you can get a discount, or Rufus in for a checkup, okay? You cannot solicit them for discounts. You cannot solicit them for their materials or samples of anything of that nature. Okay, and some of you guys that have pets, you may, go to a clinic and you're like, hey, that's the clinic I use, that's my vet, but we still have to be professional couriers, and please don't do that. Also about not really wanting to go back to this creepy situation, but when we're talking about the professionalism, and like even Daryl brought up, is that we did have an issue with a driver who was running ahead of schedule, and he decided to homestead it in the parking lot of this clinic until it was time to go in and have lunch, and throw this chicken bones out. So there's chicken bones and garbage, everywhere because he decided to sit there and have lunch. So don't do that. I mean, keep your stuff contained in your car, or eat lunch somewhere else. But don't just think you can crank up the radio and sit there and chow down some chicken wings, and leave it off in the parking lot for the customers. So that's where it all goes about the professionalism. You get in, you get out. The whole goal is to pull in that parking lot, find that lockbox, or if the clinic's open, get in there, get your specimens, and get out and move on. There's no time to be loitering or playing around or any of that nature, okay? And these routes are really not that long, and you should be able to eat, before you come in. I know some of you guys are doing day routes, and then you're gonna, you have day jobs, and then you're doing night routes, but just be smart about it, okay? And that's the other thing, come from one job to the other. We don't want to hear excuses that you don't have your shirt, your badge. You've always got to be professional, 100% of all times. That's an IDEXX, that's a customer requirement, okay? And a script fleet requirement. We have to uphold our customer requirements. That's what we do as a company. They tell us their specific SOPs and requirements and their expectations, and we have to make sure we put that together with our courier team, okay?
One thing too, I did fail to mention about the creepy guy again. He's also a client of that first clinic. So they were worried that he would retaliate if they told on him. So it was real touchy. So that's why I'm kind of glad we're switching, because that was a touchy situation. I was dealing with that for about a week. Just the back and forth between myself and the clinic. They weren't sure if they should let me know all this stuff, but most of the stuff they told me, I didn't think he did a bad job. It's just that he shouldn't have called them. But they asked him to call, so that's all I got on that one.
Yeah, no retaliation against IDEXX customers or script fleet for any reason whatsoever that you feel that you've been done wrong or disgruntled or you've been talked to because there's an issue. Please, that's an automatic contract termination if you guys even think about going postal or retaliating, okay? So don't even get those thoughts in your mind, okay?
So, other than that, was there anything else you wanted me to go over?
No, I think you pretty much covered that.
Yeah, I didn't want to go step by step through the SOP only because these are the issues that I pointed out that we have the most that lead to service failures. Dropping them, leaving them in the car, you name it. Those type of situations come up the most. And I wanted to make sure I stress those because it's easy to sit there and say, what kind of idiot would drop a sample? I had a guy actually say that in one of the training classes I had about 3 years ago. And then sure enough, the first day, he had 4 missed pickups. So, and he was the one I was worried about in the class too. That was the crazy thing about it, because anytime somebody got some wisecrack, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna keep my eye on that. It's just the supervisor in me. But multiple bags is the ones you really need to focus on. You're gonna get this many bags. I would just rubber band them things as soon as you get them out of the box, because it's just so easy for one of these things to slip down. And when they fall in the snow, you just don't hear them. Sorry, you just don't hear them. Because I dropped one in the snow, but I heard it. So I know it's hard to hear. I heard it that time, but it's just so easy to do. And And I hate to see you all, go through all that trouble to find this clinic. You get to the lockbox and then you don't finish it off correctly. That's depressing. Not to mention me getting yelled at the next day, which I'm used to.
All right, does anybody have any other further questions for Marlon? I believe this concludes his part of the class.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
Once we're assigned a route, we're going to be doing the same clinics on a daily basis, or will be different clinics added?
Well, you have automatics and call-ins, and that gets explained to you when you start doing route recards. But you do have set automatic clinics you will go to every day. Then you'll have call-ins throughout your route. And that's just basically clinics that don't have enough volume to be an automatic. They just may need to pick up every once in a while, okay? So there will be automatics and call-ins.
Now, you have exceptions. Route 2132, that's one of the Ohio, or the Western Michigan routes. There's a call-in, it's called Gelsama, I want to say it's called. They give us about 15 bags a day, but they don't want to be an auto. They want to be a call-in because they feel we'll miss them if they become an auto. I know that sounds kind of, don't make sense, but their thought process is when they call in, they get a confirmation number so they know the driver better show up. And if the driver don't show up, well, obviously, it's still the same as missing an auto, in my opinion. But there's certain clients that call in a lot because they don't want to be an auto because they think you'll miss them. Because they know the dispatcher has to review that particular stop with you, whereas your automatics, they're just on the sheet, no one will review those with you. That's their thought process. It makes sense to them, maybe not to me or you all, but it makes sense to them. So you'll see that on a few routes that, hey, they called in, they gave me like 10 bags. Most callers only give 1 or 2 bags of samples. And there are clinics that probably are only open 3 days a week anyway. And they just don't get a lot of work in. So just wanted to touch on that too. That you'll see some clinics just refuse. Also, to touch on your question again, if a new account comes up, that information, I'll be sending that to the team right away. I usually like to give the couriers 48 hours for a new stop, simply because, obviously we got to add it to the route. We got to figure out exactly how it's going to fit into the route. There's some occasions where it might be a 24-hour notice if the clinic has 10 bags of samples they want picked up that next day. If Fleet Logistics and Don don't feel like you think that's too much, not enough notice, I'll move it a day. That's not a problem. But I like to give at least 48 hours on a new clinic. Just recently, we just picked up 14 new clinics in this area. And they all came from our competitor. Something happened to where our competitors have made some angry clients. I don't know what they did, I don't care really, but I've been very busy adding new accounts. Right now it's been quiet the last 2 weeks, but I added 14 new clinics to all the routes just recently. So this area is really growing. I can see some of these routes expanded to where we may have to look into adding another route in the future. And that's something we'll discuss obviously, but
right.
I can see that happening. Again, what happened too, a lot of these clinics were threatening to leave our competitor anyway. The last week before they were supposed to leave our competitor, they were going to pick them up that last week. They decided they weren't going to pick up those clinics out of spite. So,
wow.
So needless to say, IDEXX to the rescue. They call us up, hey, our samples didn't get picked up. I don't even have these clinics on the route yet. I worked it out. And we picked up their samples anyway. They weren't even in our system yet. But we got their samples picked up anyway. They appreciated that. They all moved over to us. It's been great. So.
Sometimes we have little emergency situations like that.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
And we have to do whatever we can to take care of the customer.
And that's exactly what I did. I made sure we didn't. It was tough. The current vendor has a lead courier. All I did was pick up the phone and call him and say, look, I need you to go here, 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 and here. I don't have an address sheet for you. Here's the addresses. He wouldn't got it. Wouldn't got all the samples. It's probably about maybe 30 some odd bags from the several clinics that the competitor didn't pick up, but he picked them all up. We got them in Elmhurst. Well, they got the results the following day because we didn't find out till after the fact.
Right. But they still got the results.
They got all the results because we took them to the day lab here in Bloomfield Hills. So, will that happen to you all? Probably not. that was a special, I'd never seen that happening all the time. I've been here where the competitor said, well, we're not gonna pick you up. So we had to go bam, 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 bam. We did it.
Wow.
It worked out. It was a win-win situation for us, and we gained a lot of business. And, you know, I hope to gain a lot more in this territory. From what I'm hearing, they got some other stuff lined up for me, so. Well, Don, you and me will probably be talking.
Gonna be growing. So just keep in mind too, they're growing here, so
Yes.
that's why we need to make sure we have enough drivers. And that way we can cover whatever their needs are, whatever new additions. It's great. It's exciting to know that we're in contract with a customer that is growing by leaps and bounds, it's expanding, so that's good.
Yeah,
And it's also security.
2 years ago, just to let you know, I didn't mean to cut you off, sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine.
But 2 years ago, we only had 6 routes in this territory. We didn't even have those Western Michigan routes or the Ohio route. We didn't have any of that. This was 2 years ago. You know, and now look at us. You know, we're adding routes left and right. We used to be running from 2020 to 2026. That was it. So I'm sorry, it was 6 routes. And then the Saturday route. That was it. Now we're branching. Yes, sir.
Is all the work done by IDEXX for animals? Do you do any human?
No.
No, it's all.
No, it's all veterinary lab. It's just, well, I mean, you know, we do a lot of tests for the zoos, iguanas, apes, primates. We do a lot of. Well, actually, the zoos are big business for us.
I might have